Olivia, have you outsourced before? If yes, how would you compare it to hiring through virtual employee?
Well, I had experience with outsourcing before. Most of the time they were with big names and they were project outsourcing, so you'd be expected to send over a requirement and get a deliverable back, but none of those projects was really successful. Not to say that they were failures either, but I haven't witnessed any big success in that model. And hiring through virtual employee is a different paradigm. You basically you hire people, you outsource a team, so you get new employees and you can interact with them and go any direction you want. So it's not bound to a specific project, and that's a big difference.
Okay. So would you agree that working with your virtual employee is working with your own colleagues?
Yeah, that's the whole point of it. This is an extension of your team, so you have to grow it as a single team and have the virtual employees, people working as if they were any other colleagues, and that's the key difference.
So Oliver, you just mentioned that your project outsourcing experiences weren't a great success. Why do you think so? Is it because the developers did not have the ability, or they lacked the skills?
Not really, because in those projects I had very knowledgeable and skilled people. It really comes down to communication and the fact that you cannot take a requirement and think that this is going to be a 6-month 10-man, so that's going to be 1,200 man days of continuous development, and you can just throw it at an external team and somehow someday a fully working project will pop up somewhere. That doesn't work that way, because in these years you see that business is going faster and faster, and the requirement and the scopes are changing. They're ever changing, so you have to work more granularly and iteratively through projects, and this involves a lot of team communication, day-to-day team communication, and rework of the projects ongoing, and intermediate deliverables, sorry, kind of in the agile way and Scrum way of developing projects. This is working very well, but it means that you have to interact with your team at least daily, and so the project mode with a requirement and something coming back 6 months later is kind of not working in that environment. And this is not a question of skills, it's a question of communication.
And what other differences you notice between project outsourcing model and virtual employees model?
Virtual employees model allows you to have your own team, so you can get organized the way you organize locally. And in our case, it allowed us to implement our development methodology and be iterative. We use Agile and Scrum, so this means that we can not just run a project on a long timeline, we can actually look at the different steps. We do 2 weeks or 1 month sprints in the Scrum methodology, and every time we would just look to the product, look where it's going, test it all together, and we can refine the scope or modify the scope if it's relevant. It's also a moment where the developer team gets a good opportunity to bring in their ideas and improve potential improvements. So this it ensures that after, let's say, 6 months, we get a project that is still within the idea we had in our head at the beginning, and that idea has evolved over the 6 months, and the project is still on track with the ideas and not just with the original paper describing the project.